In a rare sight, the clouds cleared over Jagged Gale by the time night came around, leaving the pale ring and all the stars on full display over the waterfront. The glowing white band pierced the northern horizon, and looking out at it from her place on a stone pier, Rro'katha couldn't help but compare it to a beacon. "Come this way," it said, "away from there. Follow this light to freedom." Silly, poetic nonsense, to be sure, but comforting all the same. It was almost surreal, though, to be on the cusp of leaving. It was something she had dreamt of plenty, but to actually have it happen? She caught herself pinching her wrist from time to time, just to check if she was in a dream or not. Each time, nothing changed. She was just about to wonder if she had made it to the correct dock when she saw the armored form of Etana walking down the street, Rro'katha in her arms. It made the feeling sink in even more. It was really happening. Rro'katha would be safe and properly treated for at least a few months with what she had. Rro'katha couldn't help but smile as she beamed at her from the shore. She could still see that his mouth was moving, and she couldn't help but picture him talking Etana's ear off all night. Reaching out for him, still swaddled in the old quilt, the two hugged for a long moment. Once she was ready to address the older Rythar, she was interrupted by Etana handing her a small satchel. Peering in, their kettle and bowls were inside, along with the mug used for Rro'katha's tea.
"Thank you, Etana."
Rro'katha bowed her head as best as she could, trying not to jostle her brother at the same time. Etana nodded before reaching down to her side and procuring a bulging leather sack that jingled slightly, a scrap of parchment pressed between the leather and the drawstring.
"The ship is called the Serpent Eater. Your passage has already been paid for. The captain will take you into the Falling Star Sea and drop you off in Thalgrom's gift. From there, you'll be on your own. This coin should be enough to get you by for at least a little while, but use it sparingly. It will go quickly if you are careless. Don't lose that parchment. The captain wrote it as proof that you are his newest passenger. He will not let you board without it. The ship leaves tomorrow morning, north end of the docks." "This is more than I asked for,"
Rro'katha said reluctantly.
"I just wanted the medicine and a way out. In fairness, you didn't ask for anything. I made you an offer, and you accepted."
Etana countered with a small smile. She glanced down at Rro'katha.
"Besides, it's not all for you. If it were just you, medicine and a way out would be all I would offer. But you have a tiny hero to look out for. It's for his sake."
Rro'katha's voice was hoarse, confirming he'd been talking all night, but he was energetic and almost animated.
"Etana says you would have been a different person if you didn't have me around, so I have to look out for you, too."
Rro'katha smiled and gently ruffled his ears.
"She's right, you know. If I'm your hero, you've always been mine."
He beamed in delight.
"You were right. She didn't like being called a hero either, by the way."
Rro'katha couldn't help but smirk at Etana as she and her brother turned to her.
"Told you he'd love you."
Etana let off a quiet snort of a laugh.
"You did warn me, yes. To my shame, I neglected to heed it sufficiently,"
she said before putting on a small smile. She knelt down to be closer to their collective eye level and gave Rro'katha a smile.
"But take it from me, young one. Heroics is far more than wielding sharp steel and dueling with villains. Sometimes that may be part of the job, but actual heroics is about taking care of the people around you, especially the ones we love. It can take many forms, from fighting the largest dragon to cooking a good meal for a stranger. So if your aspiration is to heroism, Know that being there for Rro'katha is more than enough. Feel no need to emulate my methods.
Sorkith nodded at the sage advice.
I mean, Roro doesn't have a sword. She just works really hard and always makes sure I get my medicine and the most food.
Rro'katha felt a sudden, unpleasant squeeze in her chest as she thought about the herbs. They did have enough for a while, but not forever.
Do you know where I'd be able to find more Ushkara over in Thalgrim's gift?
Atana frowned and stood. She turned to look over the water, her whiskers twitching.
The difficulties you faced acquiring it here will be mirrored in the capital. The obstacles might just be more professional in nature,
she said, choosing her words carefully but making the implication clear. Ushkara was still a heavily regulated substance. It would be difficult to acquire in Thalgrim's gift, just as hard as here, if not more so, given the greater security in the capital. Atana pondered this for a moment, looking at one of her hands. Then she nodded.
I would instead urge you to seek out the Karathe as soon as you are able.
Though she had taken several blows to the head that night, the name tugged at the back of her mind for a moment.
Karathe. That's your name, isn't it? Atana Karathe.
Atana nodded.
More specifically, it is the name of the tribe to which I was born. The Karathe, the Souls of Delight. Technically, I have no claim to that name anymore. Had I introduced myself to you properly, I would have named myself Atana Inush. Inush meaning Outlander.
Sorkith gasped and looked at Rro'katha.
That's our last name!
Atana laughed softly.
There are many Inush, young man. It means only that you've no tribe to which you are bound. My tribe and I parted ways long ago, and so I bear the name. You and your sister never had one, and so you bear it as well, following our customs.
Do our first names mean anything?
The youngest Rythar's curiosity was far too sparked to let the topic drop.
Actually, yeah. Rro'katha nodded. I'm kind of curious myself. We never got to know any of this.
Atana gave them both a glance.
They do. The name Sorkith. When translated literally, it means young and ill, where the name Rro'katha means friend of foolish winds. Your parents were quite literal, I imagine.
Oh, come on! Rro'katha burst out. You can't be serious! Atana shrugged.
I did not invent the language. If a second opinion will ease your irritation, then again, seek out the Karathe. They can teach you. They can help you. And they can more readily provide the medicine for your brother.
Despite the mild annoyance and Sorkith's own sour expression at their latest discovery about themselves, Rro'katha shook her head and looked to her brother.
You up to try it, kiddo? We've missed out on a lot, it seems.
Sorkith nodded, looking just as eager, if a bit of exhausted from all the excitement that night. Rro'katha tightened the blanket around him and shifted him into a more restful position against her shoulder.
Thank you again. Any idea where we can keep our heads low until the ship comes in?
Atana chuckled.
The ship is already in. As I said, they're due to depart in the morning. How could I have spoken to the captain if his ship wasn't docked already? Right. Sorry, you'll have to forgive me. I did take a few hits to the skull tonight.
Rro'katha rolled her eyes and looked pointedly at her. Atana held up her hands placatingly.
Forgive me. I shall take responsibility for these foolish winds, she said, a tiny mischievous glint creeping into her otherwise tired eyes. Sorkith giggled into her shoulder, and Rro'katha knew she was in for a lifetime of teasing for her name. Even still, she held up her little brother with one arm to extend the other towards Atana. We'll never forget you.
Atana took the offered hand and shook it.
For that, you have my gratitude,
she said, her expression softening somewhat.
I wish I could give you a precise location for the Karathay. Alas, as with most of the tribes of our people, they are ever on the move, following the vast herds. They will be somewhere in the Adrith steppe. Venture to Lion Pearl. Our kind are more warmly welcomed there. That city will provide your best chance of tracking them down.
Rro'katha nodded her thanks one final time, before turning to the north for the ship.
We'll try our best.
Atana watched her go, her tail swishing a few times.
Guard each other well, fellow children of the wind,
she whispered, slipping into the Rythari language.
And may my people be kinder to you than I was to them.
With that, she too turned and walked away, her strides taking her once again into the festering belly of the beast that was Jagged Gale. She had saved one misplaced soul from its rot, but there was still much to do.